Brawley Group is the result of many years of music ministry, worship arts ministry. Back in my early 20s, not too long ago, I had the opportunity to do some work at a church in Chicago within the music ministry. And so one day I just got bored and I created this long report of stuff that I had observed with regard to the sound system and lighting and instruments and staffing, and just this whole report that I just wrote up out of boredom. And I shared it with the pastor, and he was like, "Bro, do you realize that this is consulting stuff? Like, you should consider consulting and helping churches grow and do what they do." And so that lit the fire under me initially many years ago, and it has just been germinating over the years. And as I've grown serving at different churches, I have just collected all that information and collected the ups and the downs, and it brings me to this place now. And I just have a strong calling from God that I believe is to help churches, help pastors reach full potential with regard to worship ministry, help train people, coach people, and help people realize their gifts that God has given them in the area of worship to maximum potential. So many times we'll bring in artists to come sing, to do choir workshops, people to come speak and do different things to motivate our teams and all that kind of stuff. And those things are wonderful. And we'll even do some of that. But what we're more interested in is equipping your team for the long haul. We want to give your team training, create systems, create strategy that will equip them and allow them to have the tools to serve long term, to reproduce themselves and train up those under them, and just kind of keep the circle and the process going long term, so your church can benefit not just once, not just a weekend, not just for a month or a week, but for years to come. And even when we're done working with you, we're still available, we'll still check in, we'll still continue to help provide support for your team, because ultimately we're interested in your long-term success. I've had the opportunity to do the work for so long. I've been a pastor of worship, a minister of music, a director of worship, a choir director, a musician in the band leader, praise and worship leader, assistant minister of music, music ministry administrator. So I'm a PK, so I've even been behind the scenes for many years. So I have had the opportunity to sit in a number of different seats, and all of those different seats and positions help make all of this happen. So I've got a unique perspective from that standpoint. Also, from an educational standpoint, I have a bachelor's in music from the University of North Texas. I have a Master of Arts in Worship from Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. My doctorate in ministry comes from Boston University's School of Theology. My dissertation deals heavily with helping teams understand what it means to serve as worship leaders from all points of view. So those who work in the parking lot, those who are the ushers, those who work in media, the musicians, the worship leaders, everybody who does anything that serves the people, helping them to understand that the entire experience on a campus is part of worship. And so in everybody's role, how do you serve as a worship leader and help facilitate people's encounter with God? And so doing all that study and writing that dissertation has really helped me grasp how to make it happen, I guess, and how to see it from different roles and help everybody else see the big picture. So pulling that all together helps me get it, and helps me understand how to communicate it and train and coach and help others communicate it, ultimately for the glory of God. So we deal, of course, with music, but with music, dance, drama, the media ministry, technology, social media, website, even with regard to the media ministry, lighting, projection systems or LED systems, recording systems, sound systems, all of the things that go into making worship happen on a Sunday morning, whether you need to do upgrades or adjust your system, or maybe you have none of that and you need to bring some of that in. We can help with that. We've got members on the team who are all experts in those different areas and can work with your team and get it going. So no, we're not just about music. We're about the total worship. Worship planning is very important because you want to have a cohesive flow. It's ultimately, the primary singing aggregation in the church is the congregation. That's everybody. So we're not on stage performing. It's not a concert. The ultimate goal is to facilitate and create a space where everybody can worship God and sing to the audience of one. How do you do that? What key is it in? Where are the melody lines going? Is it too high? Is it too low? Are there too many jumps? Are we singing in harmony too much? Is it too much unison? There's a whole lot of things that need to be considered when planning worship, so that you can create the best experience for God's people to interact with God, so that you can create the best space for people to feel comfortable and really engage God and hear from God and leave transformed and leave changed. And that doesn't happen by just walking in and just saying, we're gonna sing this song and we're just gonna do this. No. You have to think through it, plan it, and be strategic to create a cohesive experience that will really, really bless people. And when that happens perpetually and repeatedly, then you see transformation, you see discipleship happening, you see disciples being made. So that's why it matters that worship is planned. As I love worship planning. It's one of my favorite things.